Hello, hello, happy day 5. Today we are going to talk about follow-up. So if you have created a storefront on social media where you are sharing, adding value, you are showing up as yourself and who you want people to know you as, you're sharing about Plexus, and you're reaching out to people about Plexus, you are going to find yourself in a place of conversations. You're going to find yourself where you are having conversations about Plexus, certainly if you're reaching out every day. And sometimes, most of the time, those conversations do not immediately end in the sale of a welcome pack. So we are going to talk today about how do you follow up so that you can move that conversation forward and eventually get to that sale of the welcome pack. So first of all, what I want to say is that when I am having a conversation with someone back and forth, I like to focus and always include two things. Number one, I use videos a lot because even though I've been around for a long time and I have lots of information stored up in my brain, it is easier to communicate with a video than it is for me to send 10,000 voice clips. I get rambly. And then people listen and it's just me talking instead of someone else giving information. So I love videos because that means when you get started, you can share a video and not have to know all the information in order to share. So videos is one thing. And the second thing is I like to end my portion of every conversation with a question. That encourages a back and forth conversation instead of just a one-way piece of info. So example, somebody reaches out to me and they're like, hey, I've seen what you're sharing. Tell me about it. What are you doing? And I say something like, hey, so good to hear from you. I don't know if you've heard about Plexus. I'm actually taking some Plexus supplements. It's a pink drink that tastes awesome and 2 gut health supplements. I have already noticed, fill in the blank, with something that impacts you personally. Let me send a really short video that explains it better than I can. And you send a short video, right? Then the question that I would say to that, sometimes they'll come back and answer and they'll say something and you can keep the conversation going. If they don't, I would say, hey, did you get a chance to check out that video? Did that resonate with you? Does that sound like something that fits what you're looking for, right? Okay, so that's example 1. Example 2 is if I have reached out to someone about the business. Sometimes we reach out about the business and then when someone responds and they're like, yeah, like I'm a little curious, a little skeptical, but I'm a little curious, tell me more. And then we freeze and we're like, what do I say? So I want you guys to think, I keep it very simple. I want you guys to think, what are they really asking? They are not saying, tell me how to make millions of dollars, right? Because at this point, they don't even think that's possible. Like once you're in Plexus, you realize, hey, I can make like legit money. But at the point they're at, they don't even think that's a thing. Like they are thinking, what is required of me? What kind of work do I have to do? And what kind of money can I make, right? So I typically send a voice clip and I say something like, hey, absolutely, I'm happy to answer any questions. Just a little overview is it really works exactly like a referral link. So I'm going to pause right here and say, I love that we are in the social age of selling. Like we are truly in an era of social selling. Whether someone's getting paid for it or not, people understand the concept of a referral link. A referral link means I refer people and the company does all the rest of the work. So I tell them, I use that knowledge and I tell them like, hey, it really works just like a referral link. Plexus takes care of the payment, the shipping. We have a money back guarantee. They take care of that too. Like literally all I do is refer people to Plexus, help them get started on the best products for them. And then Plexus pays me. And then I say, because the question is always like, what are my requirements, right? I tell them we don't have inventory. We don't have minimums. We don't have quotas. Like literally I'm sharing my referral link and I'm getting paid for it. I'm going to put a little snapshot below of what you could make this month if you're referring people. But part of what is so successful about our business is our products are awesome. I always tie it back around to the products. Our products are awesome. So what would you say your top health goals are? And then we could get you set up with the products for you and a referral link. So I'm always pulling it back around to the products, right? So those are 2 examples of how I would end a conversation in a question. Here's some of what I want to talk about follow-up. I love giving brand new information. Instead of asking the same question every single month and being ignored every single month for 10 months in a row until somebody is finally like, oh my goodness, leave me alone. Like, fine, I'll buy your stuff. Or they just like totally ghost you completely and never respond, or they tell you like, no, I'm done, like not interested, right? So you want to follow up with new, fresh information. So if they told you at some point that their health goal is thyroid, and sometimes they will say their health goals in the form of conversation, like, oh, well, really, I struggle with weight gain and I struggle with being tired because my thyroid is not healthy. They don't even know that Plexus can help with thyroid. They're just telling you why they feel the way they feel, but you're taking mental notes, right? So a follow-up off of that conversation could be something like, hey, I saw this testimony about so-and-so and her thyroid, and it made me think of you, and I wanted to send it over to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Follow-up question to that is, hey, what do you think? Did that resonate? Did that relate to how you feel? So sending a testimony, inviting them to an event, like, hey, my team is having a short info event. It's no pressure. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to do anything crazy. Can I send you an invite so you can check it out and see if this might be for you, right? Inviting them to something. Another video, if you saw a different video that related, but they hadn't seen yet, a sale, like, hey, Plexus is offering free shipping on new welcome packs this month or your first time order for the month. Have you thought more about Plexus? What are you thinking about Plexus? So these are all different questions that you can ask, different things you can follow up with. And here's what I want to say. Sometimes you're following up with more information and more education because they don't yet know that Plexus is for them. Maybe it's not the right time for them, or maybe they think this is all weight loss and I don't need weight loss, so it's not for me. Or this is gut health and I can go to the bathroom fine, so it's not for me. So the more they learn about what you offer, the more they realize, hey, maybe this is for me. So that's part of the follow-up. And the second part is sometimes you just have to ask, like, hey, how are you thinking about Plexus? Are you ready to get started? Hey, curious if you had a chance to think through the Plexus options we talked about, does that sound like something you'd like to get started with, right? Sometimes it takes that call to action and calling them on the carpet, so to speak, to say like, hey, are you gonna do this? Like, is this what you're interested in? So those are some tips on follow-up. Remember to be yourself, be relatable. If this is somebody that you are close with in real life, then make sure that you're not abandoning the rest of your relationship. Like if you typically would talk about tons of other things and then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, oh my goodness, like all I've said for the last 3 months has been Plexus things. Make sure that you're staying connected to them in the way that you know them to begin with. So that is some of what we're going to talk about today. Today's challenge is I want you to make sure you have a list of all of your people that you have talked to about Plexus in the past, and I want you to follow up with at least 5 of them today.